Hello folks, welcome to The Lone Adventurer. Today I'm going to be taking a look at the solo role-playing game Notorious. We're going to have a little flick through the book. I'm going to introduce the system to you. We're going to create a character, probably in the same video, we'll see how it goes. And then in subsequent videos I'm going to play through an adventure. Now this is a game that was released through Kickstarter. I backed it on Kickstarter last year for a physical copy, so this lovely tome is the copy that I received through Kickstarter. You can get a downloadable copy through itch.io. I'll pop a link in the description below. And this is, at least at this stage of my solo role-playing experience, the sort of game I am looking for. It is very structured, very gamey, so it tells you exactly what to do, and you go through a series of rounds, essentially, rolling on particular tables. And there's no point when you're going to get stuck if you're not particularly creative with your ideas. So I've tried to play a couple of other solo role-playing games, and you get to the point where you're like, well, what should my character do now? I don't really know. And you roll on an oracle table, and you're left none the wiser, and you just sort of stumble, and it stops. With Notorious, that isn't going to happen. You're always going to know what to do, and you'll see as we go through this and as we play through the game that it also encourages, optionally, another layer of creativity. So it asks questions about the people you encounter, the situations you find yourself in, that gently encourage you to add some creative flair, some of your own ideas to the situations that you find yourself in. So I think it's, in that sense, quite a nice sort of bridging game between something that's completely gamey, like Four Against Darkness, when you're rolling on tables, and you don't really have to bring, necessarily, I know a lot of people do, but you don't have to bring any creativity to the table. So it's a good bridge between a game like that and games like Iron Sworn, where you really do have to sort of bring your A game in terms of coming up with ideas and driving the story forward yourself. So that's my hope, at least, that this will make me sort of better at the more creative elements, put me in a better position to take on games like Iron Sworn and just normal role-playing games played in a solo context. Right, let's have a look at this. So this is Notorious. It is a game of hard scrabble bounty hunting amid intergalactic war, a game by Jason Price. Jason is based in the UK, which is why I have this nice physical version, because post and packaging wasn't crippling, because I'm in the UK as well. As soon as I saw this was a UK-based creator, I knew I was going to back it and have a physical copy. So Notorious is a sci-fi tabletop role-playing game for one player. It can be played as short one-shot adventures or as a series of anthology stories. Played to tell stories of the nomads, notorious bounty hunters who strike fear among the scum and villainy of the universe and follow a dubious code of honour. In the midst of an intergalactic war, you've been given a lucrative contract by one of 6 factions. The job is simple. Bring the target back, dead or alive. No disintegrations. Search for leads on planets affected by the ongoing war, and make helpful allies or bitter enemies. Piece together the truth about who your target is and what motivates them while confronting your own murky past. So the game is split the rulebook rather, is split up into 3 clear colour-coded sections. You've got the bit at the front, which is just the rules. Then you've got a section on setup, which you do have to refer to a little bit whilst you're playing as well. And then you've got a final section on play. So very clear book design, very easy to navigate around. We've got a bit of an introduction. We've got the guild code. So you are in a guild of bounty hunters, the Nomads Guild. So bounty hunters are known as nomads, and you've got particular rules that you have to live by. A little bit of detail here on how to play, just broadly. You can play in an arcade mode, where basically you just bosh through it as quickly as you can, more or less. Or you can do it in story mode, where you're more relaxed about it and you take more copious notes and sort of gradually create a story as you are going. And that's sort of what I'm going to do. That's kind of what I did last time. A bit notey. I didn't write full extensive paragraphs of detail about what was going on, but I tried to actually, let me find it. I think I actually died in the game that I played earlier, but I made some notes on what was happening as I was playing, and then I died. So not a huge amount of notes, but for me that felt like quite a lot. I'm not much of a creative writer. I don't really do any writing at all, to be honest. So keeping those notes there and challenging myself to sort of flesh out beyond the most basic of details. And I did. I tried to create a few connections between characters and funny situations as I was going. So we've got some key terms here. You've got nomads, notoriety, favour and motivation. So these are the attributes that you keep track of as you're playing. Reactions. These are the ways that you sort of interact with the other individuals that you encounter as you're playing. You can speak to them, attack them, threaten them and recruit them. You've got the different factions. So you've got factions. And as you'll see as we're playing, it's pretty clear that Star Wars was the key inspiration in terms of the world of Notorious. And so the factions, a lot of them do align with groups that you find in Star Wars. Locals are just the regular people on the planet. Assets are locals who might be useful to us in some way. Hostiles are the people you might have to fight. Leads are the people that are going to allow us to get closer to our target, and the target is the person who we are trying to get. Okay, so lots of tables in here, which I like. So for each of the reactions, you've got some tables to guide what happens when you do that thing. So you do a roll. You will either succeed or you will fail. If you succeed, you sort of, I think you roll on an additional table or a couple of tables to see what exactly happens. Same for if you try to threaten someone. If you try and attack someone, you've got some very brief rules here. I mean, this is it. This is the page for how you attack someone. And all of these interactions basically have the same thing, the same rules. You roll 2 dice, one for you, one for the other person in the interaction. You compare the two, you see what happens, and that's pretty much it. And that's more or less how attacking works as well. And the same with recruiting. If you are trying to recruit an asset that might be helpful to you. Got a couple of splash pages here of lovely art. So we've got we've got 7. Well, we've got the different characters that you can play all lined up here, looking down at a planet in the distance. Then we've got rules for how to create your character, but we'll go through these in a minute because we're actually going to be doing it. So there's some tables to roll on for each of the different character classes. So for the armourer, the assassin, the bot, the brute, the scoundrel, and the uncanny. And so for each one, you have the loadout, the equipment that they have. You have their origin. So you roll a dice for you witnessed a cathartic vision that led you to abandon your pursuit of wealth through the trade alliance. So that just gives you, these tables give you a few details about your character that will sort of just make them feel a little bit more real and unique each time you play. Then we've got a bunch of different species that you can play, and for each one it suggests some names. This is it for the species, so there's so many opportunities for additional resources to be created for this game in the future. And on the itch.io discussions, I have noted that the creator has sort of asked for some ideas and expressed some interest in creating additional things for the future, but because this is it for the different species in this world, it just tells you what the species is called, Talok, one word to describe them, so the Taloks are reptilian, and then 6 possible names if you're playing a Talok or if you encounter a Talok. So it's all, everything is here to get you started, but they leave an awful lot up to the imagination. So that's not necessarily a bad thing, but this world could stand to be fleshed out in various ways. Personality traits. Then you've got details for how to create your contract, that you are the person you are trying to track down. Then we've got some details for the different planets that you might go to. And then we've got details about the different factions that you can work for or interact with. And again, that's it. Very brief, few details for each one. So the world is fully formed, the lore is fully formed, but very surface level. They don't go into, the book doesn't go into a huge amount of detail. Another nice splash page there. Before we go on to the actual rules of the game. So it's pretty straightforward really. You've got a loop. You do 2 things. You explore, you reach a destination. You explore, you reach a destination. And you keep doing those 2 things until the rules guide you towards a final showdown. And that will sort of happen naturally as you go. As you increase in notoriety, it becomes more and more likely that you'll find leads. When you encounter your 3rd lead, you have the final showdown. And we've got a bunch of tables. Not a huge amount, so I do wonder whether stuff here will get a little repetitive. Because when you're exploring, you basically have 18 things that can happen while you're exploring. And when you reach a destination, you essentially have 18 things that can happen in a destination. You can also search. We've got a little table there for searching, a table for generating leads, and then a table for what happens when you find your target, and for the showdown. And I haven't really looked at this yet because I haven't yet had a showdown. And then some epilogue text, so what would happen, different things that would happen after the showdown, presumably. And that's it. That is Notorious. So it's a nice, succinct little volume, very beautiful, very nicely crafted. And we're going to play through. I think we're going to just create a character right now. Alright, so this is the character sheet. So we've got quite a lot of information we need to fill in on here. We will use this during character creation and also as we play. Okay, so when you're creating your nomad, your bounty hunter, we're going to start by rolling on this table to determine the type of nomad we will be playing. previously I was playing the assassin, so let's see if we get a different one this time. Three, the bot. Your cold exterior and fearless personality hide logical calculations, steering every decision you make. Just trying to work out where to put that, and I think last time I put it in this section which is marked profile, so I'll put it there for the time being. We are playing as the bot. So with that done, we need to turn to the page for the bot. Success often lies in acting faster than biological opponents, using mechanical reflexes, pinpoint accuracy, and an ability to ignore minor damage. It sounds handy. We get, for a ranged combat, we get an auto-tracking laser rifle, and that gives us +2, an attack modifier of +2, or +3 when we're fighting multiple opponents. So that's quite handy. We can fill that in our ranged weapons section. And then for melee, we've got sharp metallic limbs, which gives us a +2 attack modifier. Oh wow, self-destruct sequence, +5, ignores defense, ends your game immediately. So I can optionally self-destruct and end the game immediately. And my outfit: glowing eyes, whirring pistons, blast plating. So the blast plating gives me +2 defense. I could write all of that in this outfit section. I'm just going to write the blast plating in, I think. And what I tend to do is just write numbers for the attack modifier and then put a little heart after it, like they do in the book, for defense. Now we've got to work out the origin of our bot character. So we've got a table here to roll on. 2 gives me this first option here. You're one of several identical factory produced bots, but you gained higher sentience. So by some fluke or error of coding, this particular bot is different to the other bots. We attained sentience, awareness of ourself, when that did not happen for the other bots that were created. Makes me think of Johnny Five from Short Circuit. He was an attack robot. He gained sentience. Basically, this is the story of Johnny Five, this first one here. So let's put that in here. I think we've got a spot somewhere for our origin. Where does that go? Over here. Then we're also going to get a scar. I don't think this is necessarily always a literal scar. It's some kind of physical attribute or some element of your physical appearance that sets you apart and is different, unique to you, I guess. 3. At some point you chose to fight the intergalactic war and bear the logo of the New Uprising. So the New Uprising is one of the factions of the intergalactic war, so I guess I've literally got on me evidence that I'm of the New Uprising, or that I fought for them. And then we've got a trigger, which is something that influences the choices that we make. 1. Lots of low rolls. Hopefully I'm getting it out of the way before I actually get into when rolls actually affect gameplay. 1. You killed your genius creator amid the confusion of your first factory awakening. Now that's cool, so that sort of does tie in some degree to me gaining sentience. So I was different to the others, I was aware and I panicked. I was behaving differently to the other bots because I was sentient. It created a bit of a kerfuffle, a stressful situation, and in the confusion I killed my creator. And maybe that fact will in some way influence my behaviour as I play. I'm not really sure. Right, so that's that, and that. What is next? Well, I think what is next is species and personality. We need to choose a species. So we're going to roll 2d6, and that will add them up, and that will tell us which type of species we are. 7. We're human. That does not make... right, so if you're a bot, you don't roll on this table because you're not a species, you're just a bot. I see. Over here we've got a section for bots. So bots are unique in that you don't generate a species, which makes sense. So I can choose one of these. I think I'm going to be ZX99. So that's my name. Species is just bot. We need a personality. So we roll on this d6 table and then we just choose one of the options. 2. So I'm going to be skittish, nervous, or tense. I think we're going to go for skittish. So I guess that means you're sort of nervy, twitchy, on edge a little bit, skittish. And then you also have some questions here that could help you. What do you worry is going to go wrong again? Or what small item do we carry to provide some comfort? Or... So I've gone with the second of those questions. What small item do we carry to provide some comfort? And I've gone for ZX99 carrying his creator's security tag. So when he killed his genius creator, which he did not intend to do, he fled the scene, panicked and fled the scene. But not before grabbing his creator's security tag. He didn't know why, but he grabbed it, and he's kept that, and it provides some degree of comfort, while also, presumably also, creating a sense of shame that he killed his creator. He still gets some comfort from carrying it. So I think that's the character, our character largely created. But we also need to set favour, notoriety, and motivation. Favour and motivation always start on 2, and notoriety always starts on 0. And now we need to move on to creating the planet and the target. So the Nomads Guild, when they give us this job, will give us some key information about the target that we are going for. This will include the target's name, species, personality, the planet they're rumoured to be hiding on, the faction who originally posted the bounty with the Nomads Guild, and the reason why that faction wants this person tracked down and captured. So we need to create the contract. We need to find the species and name of our target. So we go back to the species table, we roll on that, we get 8, which gives us a goal, which is some kind of horned alien. So our target is a goal, and we need to choose just one of these names. I guess you could create your own as well. Let's go for Rudy Valet. So Rudy Valet is the name of our target. Okay, with that done, we need to roll for their personality. And their personality might have some impact on how the story goes at some point. 6. Oh, they're assured, calm, or focused. So let's say Rudy is a very confident character, and so his personality is that he is assured, very sure of himself and the actions that he takes. Then we're going to roll for the planet on which the story takes place. So we've got 6 planetary options, and we've got planet number 4, and that is Veltari, which is an aquatic planet. So we land our ship on a dimly lit floating platform with connections to the main hub. Okay, interesting. So it's made up of wave-battered bridges, drilling platforms, stormy seas, and disused starships. Oof, cool. Alright, so where are we? This is the section on the planet that we're going to. So we are going to Veltari. So each planet comes with some predominant species. So I'll just write these in, and these are going into a tiny D6 table that you can roll on during the adventure when you encounter particular characters to find out the species that they are. So we've got Kimano, Talok, and Valk. Then down here we've got competing factions. So we've got 3 factions that are vying for control on the planet. We've got the Mystic Order, who are the dominant faction that could be said to being currently in control. We've got the Trade Alliance. They are the challenging faction, so I guess the sort of second largest that create challenges for the Mystic Order and are vying for control with the Mystic Order. And then we've got a tertiary, a minor faction, which is the Red Moon. Now we've also got some prominent destinations here. And I think I overlooked these last time I was playing actually, and I think these just add a bit of flavour. When you reach a destination you can roll on this and find out what the destination is, possibly. So I'll copy those destinations in here. I'm not 100% sure how you use those. It's probably very straightforward, but I'll copy those in. We've got Dunla, the Smuggler's Rest, cargo ship TA-42, Kimano barge crawler, Juta research station, Kraketh spaceport, and Giloth, the floating city. Alright, I think we're almost there. That's our planet done. Then we need to choose a faction that's present on the planet as the client. So we've got 3 options: Mystic Order, Trade Alliance, or Red Moon. I think we'll go for random. So 6, that will give us the minor faction, which is the Red Moon. So the Red Moon have tasked us with finding Rudi Valet, the goal. So if we turn to the factions section, the Red Moon Syndicate is a secretive but influential crime organisation run by Six the 13th, a manipulative and intelligent aristocrat. The Syndicate favours using agents, assassins and spies over open warfare where possible. So we've got 3 reasons for this bounty being requested or created by the Red Moon Syndicate. I think I'm going to again roll, and when I do this and there's 3 options, I'm taking 1 or 2 to be the first, 3 or 4 to be the second, and 5 or 6 to be the last. 2 gives us the first. The target attempted to assassinate the aristocratic leader of the Red Syndicate, Six the 13th. And that's it. That is the character creation done. So it takes a little while, and it's fairly in-depth, but now we sort of have a lot of the background of our character, our nomad, the planet to which we'll be going, and the target that we are looking for. That's all in place now. There's quite a few interesting details and quirks, so you can see that you're going to end up with something quite different every single time that you play. But this is it. We're going to be playing ZX99, heading to Veltari, the aquatic planet, and looking for Rudy Valet, who's wanted by the Red Moon Syndicate for an attempted assassination on their leader. With all that done, I reckon we are good to go. So I hope you enjoyed that. Feel free to like this video if you did. Subscribe to my channel if you want to see more adventures like this one. And join me in the next one, where I will start my playthrough of Notorious. Thanks for watching. See you in the next one.